No.
He's not here.
Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the I'm Playing podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Thinkbad Monkey, aka Alex Nicol, or the other way around, doesn't really matter. With me, I'm joined by my trusty partner in crime, Comrade Window, aka Romnomnom.
Yes, I am here. As always, hello listeners, hi.
It almost made you look like you was taking off some sunglasses that weren't actually on your face.
I was doing the CSI in Miami. You know.
Oh yeah!
And the other voice that you may have heard is another of my trusty partners in crime, although not as trusty because he's missed one. Is Stephen Riley, aka Kailios.
Thank you for that lovely warm introduction there. But hello everyone.
Hi. Let's just move the mic back because it's a little bit loud.
Yes.
Sorry, that's Steve. This is listeners' ears we're trying to kill here. We don't want to kill the listeners' ears. We want to tell them about what games we've been playing this week, as we always do.
So how would you start off?
And I tell you what, people may be surprised that I've been playing Dynasty Warriors next.
That's a new one.
That's
new.
Yeah, it's really good. But I'm going to be having a 5-hour seminar on why Dynasty Warriors was really good coming up next week, so stay tuned for details on that.
By Professor Alex Nicol.
But,
the strategy behind Dynasty Warriors.
But while I plan that, I've actually been playing a bit of Hotline Miami, which we actually reviewed on the site. One of our friends reviewed it on a site a long time ago, and he absolutely loves it so much. But February sale on the Vita, and actually on the PSN store, not really PS4 unfortunately, but I managed to get the game for £2.10p.
Cheap.
What a weird price.
It was £2.70, and I got a 60p discount because I had PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
And the game is really, really good.
Is it?
Really good. Essentially, it's a top-down. I don't know. It's a top-down slasher, I guess. So you're an assassin. The plot makes it's crazy. You're an assassin. You basically have to go through a series of rooms, taking out everyone in each room. But it's very quick pace. You have to run in. If you cock up for a couple of seconds, if you stall for a couple of seconds, they'll turn around and kill you.
Yeah.
Very much, and then you have to start that level. You have to start that room again. So you have to sort of work your way through attacking people. And hell of a good game on the Vita. Really, really enjoyed playing that.
Is it quite a long game to play, or is it over quite quickly, or is it like?
Don't know. Yeah, each mission is. Could be really short. You could probably. I'll tell you what. I haven't completed the game. You could probably smash it in 2 hours. But because of the learning curve and how you tackle each room, I don't want to say pad it out because that is the game. The game is to learn this and become really quick, and the reflex is actually good, and learn the best ways around these rooms.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've still been playing it for a little bit now.
The main thing I think with games for me, I've been picking up a few games that I'll go into later on the mobile, is how much it actually makes me want to play it. I mean, if you pick up a game and you just kind of play it, within your first couple of minutes of playing it, you just kind of think, well, is this actually worth it?
Am I actually going to play this?
Am I achieving anything? Because sometimes you just pick up a game because you download it, you think, oh, this is free to play, I'll give it a go, and then you suddenly think, oh, this is...
That's a good point. Do you know something that I always think about? When I first play a game on my phone, normally, if I... get off that app and think, actually, you know what, I'm going to go... if I go back into it straight away, then I know that's a game that I'm actually going to play quite a bit.
Yeah.
If I leave it for a day, then I know that I'm just not bothered and I'm just going to delete it there and then because...
There's no point, because
the
game I played was Lego City My City, which is a free app or free game on the App Store for the Android. And that was basically what I was leading on to because I kind of downloaded it. And as well as it being a fairly large file, really, for a phone game,
How big was it?
I think it was 200 odd meg or something stupid like that.
Really?
Yeah, and I was thinking,
there's some other big ones.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? For a Lego type game, I was thinking I wasn't really expecting too much, so I thought I'd give it a go. And then basically, it's like set of mini games. Really, got about a choice of 7. Some of them might vary from a car chase. Another one is where you kind of fly a helicopter around, picking up people from boats because they're being surrounded by sharks. Another one, as I was demonstrating earlier, was the really fun one where you're like a police person and you've got to catch random people. Well, not random people, you catch criminals. Thank you. We're cheersing beers here, mid-sentence. And it's just, I don't know, I picked it up, started playing it, and I was kind of found myself quite bored and forced myself to play it. As opposed to me actually generally thinking I'm actually enjoying this. It was just more like really tedious and
that's the one thing I don't do on my phone. an actual game that I've paid for on my Xbox, on my laptop, then yeah, I think, oh, you know what, I'll keep pushing through for a bit more. But even if I buy it on my phone, if in 2 minutes I'm thinking, ugh. And
it's kind of what I felt exactly with the Lego game. I was just really quite surprised. I was like, I wasn't gaining anything off. It was quite boring, and it just wasn't really as what I was expecting. I was like, oh, just Lego games. They're a little bit funny, aren't they? Got a bit of humour to it. I just found myself quite disappointed.
No, it's easy to get into that. I bought a game called Gunslugs as well, again for Vita on the February sale. It was like £1. I played a little bit of it first mission. I will go back and play it again, but I can't see it as a game I'm going to spend a massive amount of time on. Really simplistic, like seemingly piss easy the first mission. So I bought it because it was £1, but I can't see myself doing that. But I know. Imagine the situation where we're all in a toilet. There's 3 urinals. Me and you are on the outside of both ones. The middle one's free. Conrad's come in, got his massive member out, and swung it around to knock us out the way. Because I feel, as much as we like to play the games we've talked about, he's kind of trumps us what he's been playing this week.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's quite funny that you're talking about games paid, £2, £1. Or
mentions your penis, which is. But that was right. You was insinuating that.
Yeah.
I hope. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I've been playing the Titanfall beta beta testing beta.
Potato.
It is absolutely brilliant. I loved it. I went in thinking,
there was a reason
am I
going to
enjoy this?
Reference for Xbox. No, I'm joking. It looked really sick.
Because we've got really
Tell me about it, Conks. It looked really, really good. And your write-up was very complimentary as well.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot in my opinion when I wrote 1,500 words on a Titanfall beta, and I had 1,500 more. I really could have said loads and loads, and the fact that I've bought a Turtle Beach. Well, I've pre-ordered a Turtle Beach headset, and I've gone for the Titanfall one.
It does look nice. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it yet. No.
The Titanfall headset and controller look really nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah, because that's the main thing. Like when you've got a game such as Titanfall, there's so much hype behind it, and to hear that actually is enjoyable is not always a common thing. Normally, there's so much hype behind a game, and you play it and you go, "They haven't done this right. This is nowhere near what I was expecting." So when you actually get that feeling of,
there's a couple of things. I mean, I hope there's. I'm unsure on how much customization you will be given. I know that there's going to be a couple of different, shapes for the actual Titans, but I don't know if you can change colour of them or do anything like that. Or
it would be quite cool though.
It would be sweet if you could, but I mean, the stuff you could change in the beta was good. It was, you could change.
Well, I mean, beforehand. We were talking about it, and we both weren't sold on the idea.
No.
Especially waiting for you, because I won't be buying it. I haven't got an Xbox, but as you had done, you weren't sold on the idea. But it is interesting that the beta actually completely changed your mind about that. Rather than just sort of think, actually, I'm going to give it a go now. You completely sold on it after giving it a go.
I am, and I'm.
Could you give us a bit of a rundown as in like what actually you got to do in the beta?
Yeah. I mean,
can we just say one?
Okay, let's go beta. Right.
Beta.
So on the YouTube video, I don't know if you've seen that. I uploaded a compilation video, but my favourite event was the Last Titan Standing, which I think most of my things are from. And so Last Titan Standing is pretty much Last Man Standing. Surprisingly, the names are both the same, But in that one, you'll start off in your Titans, 6 Titans v 6 Titans.
Beast.
You've got your map, and you go hunt down the other Titans. And it is absolutely, it's just, do you know what, it wasn't clunky, it wasn't forced, it just felt like natural. It actually felt like this is something that could happen in the future. Yeah. It felt like, if the maps actually, looked like, if they did a map of London, then I could totally see this being real life in, I don't know, 50, 75 years. Whatever.
So it seemed like a really smooth, do you know when obviously you're playing a first person shooter, and obviously the way things are getting very fluid now, so it just seemed to be completely like that, even when you're behind this massive, however many foot mech it is.
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. Do you know what, I thought that when you first get in the robot, it might be kind of like, oh, the movement's a bit shit, I'm going to have to get used to this. No. Loved it. The guns on it were fantastic. I mean, obviously, the gameplay, it is brilliant, don't get me wrong, but what I was going to mention was, obviously, you can't go up as a pilot, which is what you call just a human, obviously. Yeah. You can't, as a pilot, just randomly go up to a Titan, get out your rocket launcher and expect to survive.
Yeah.
You can hide and shoot rockets, hide a bit more, shoot another rocket, or you have a anti-Titan weapon.
How long would it take to take down a Titan as a pilot, but using the rockets? Like how many?
Quite on your own. If you were the only one taking shots at it, quite a bit.
Right. Okay.
It's not like, oh yeah, I've just got my Titan. Oh fuck, it's blown up.
Sure, that's good. It makes you feel like a badass, but also you can take them down.
Yeah.
My only my worry actually with Titanfall is not really a worry. It's how I'm interested to see how they address the issue. Is every multiplayer games have multiplayer, but they all have a single player basically, right? Which keeps people interested for 5 hours, and then you go to multiplayer. Yeah. Whether you want to go for achievements, do it on Veteran for Call of Duty, for example, that keeps it interested. As Titanfall goes straight into that multiplayer environment, I want to know, yes, you can have a fantastic weekend playing the beta, and I'm sure it was really good, and then a couple of months down the line, how do they avoid people getting just tired of the same thing? It'd be interesting to see how many maps they release. They could release up to 20 maps on launch, which could be huge, and obviously the variation changes, but maps alone aren't going to make that interesting. Any game gets boring, and I think that it'd be really interesting to see how Titanfall manages to counteract that problem.
Definitely.
It also, like, when you play the single player, you also use that to get used to the game, which I think is quite a key component, isn't it?
I tell you what, though, the tutorial really does that well for you.
Nothing like a baptism of fire.
Surprisingly, me and the other lad I was playing with, Eagle Eye Evans, we both went straight from the tutorial, straight into an online game, thinking, okay, the first couple, we can write off our kill to death ratio. No, it was surprisingly easy to get into.
Because everyone's in the same boat.
That's probably in part due to the introduction of bots, right?
Yes, the bots bots have been missing from games in my opinion. I love bots. I love the idea of being able to play a couple of people and just take on bots, like Time Splitters.
Back in the day.
God rest your soul.
I want to see the game. There's going to be one point where everyone's going to be just like hanging their heads in shame when the bot has the biggest KD ratio. Because I would fully expect every single bot to have a negative KD.
They get a couple of kills, but it's.
What are they called? They're not called bots, though.
No, they're the robots are. Oh shit! Robots are called Spectre.
Spectres.
Yeah, and
Spectres, pilots, Spectres, and Titans.
Grunts. That's what they are.
Grunts. Okay.
Like the pilot AI.
Oh, okay.
Grunts, and it's quite funny.
So the robot Titans are called Spectres.
No, robot. They're not Titans. They're just like a human-sized robot going around. They're called Spectres. Yeah.
Okay.
Ah.
Oh, Con. Phone off, mate. Notifications.
Sorry, ladies.
So bloody unprofessional. That's actually really interesting. And the actual really cool thing I like about the beta, which it's not just Titanfall in general, which I'm really interested to see, is the I don't know if you know this, Steve. At the end of a game. I'm not sure if it's Last Titan Standing. I doubt it. I think it's what's the key?
Attrition.
Attrition, right? So if your team loses, you then have to fall back to an extraction point, and then you have a chance to regain a little bit of dignity by getting back there, right?
Yeah. Oh. I'm not sure how much bonus XP this gives you. I'm guessing it gives you bonus XP, but look, there's two problems with this. One, will people bother going back to that extraction point? Because it might not be that much XP. I don't know how much XP it is. Two, the enemy then goes straight away to defend it. And if there's a Titan there, there's no... It's a case of, if you lose, it goes into this that you have to escape part. You die, you die. Mm. There's no respawning in that part. You can't call a Titan, anything like that. So, if there's an enemy Titan at your extraction point, you're boned.
But isn't that a good way though? Because then that gives you a bit of like, for me, I want to get to that objective point just to say fuck you.
I want to do that.
That's what it will be for me.
Definitely, but some people are kind of like, oh no, my kill to death ratio, I can't have another death.
Which
I genuinely went for it because I thought, oh cool, it's the epilogue. I want to go for it. I died, but
Yeah, but it's a
What
good
I told you
little
about
twist,
using
though.
fancy words on this podcast.
I'm sorry.
It's the end bit, not epilogue.
It sounds like a good twist though. They're bringing a lot of unique stuff, isn't it? Really, to an online shooter. Really,
I'm interested to know just how much of that, because they're saying about there's no single player, but they're saying that there's going to be a plot to the multiplayer. I'm wondering how much of it the epilogue is, if the epilogue is the plot.
Yeah, and that's it.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, since playing the beta, I've looked up a bit more about Titanfall, and it was saying about, these are the characters you're going to meet on the militia side, and this is the people you're going to meet on the IMC side, and it's saying like about them, but I really don't know how much you'll get attached to those characters, so I'm interested in that. Yeah,
I think everyone's actually quite interested to see how it's going to pan out when it comes out on March the 11th.
14th, I believe.
14th of March? Okay, cool. Because we're going to see how that pans out. But actually, it does bring up a good point, and we were talking about it today. I know me and you, Conrad, but I'd be interested in Steve's thoughts of it as well. It was actually the...
No, I was there.
Yeah, you were in spirit.
I was in the shadows.
It's almost the value of betas and the... I guess the increase maybe we've seen, or the decrease necessarily, you guys thought you have. Because I've noticed actually maybe not an increase in the number of betas, but an increase in the interest of let's have a beta.
Or the awareness, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess when the place there was a Halo 3 beta came out of Crackdown, right? I mean, that was sort of the first time I really heard of this console, like playing a beta, get code, and it's actually interested to know, would you, if you weren't interested in buying a game, say you didn't care about Crackdown, but you're a massive Halo fan, would a beta being included in a game you didn't want to buy and make you buy that game for the sake of getting the beta? In the case we're talking about today, we've got a friend who is a massive Doom fan, and the Doom 4 beta is going to be included in the Wolfenstein game coming out end of the second half of the year, sort of this year sometime, not really sure. The Wolfenstein game.
It comes May, I believe.
And he said he wouldn't buy Wolf. He's not interested in Wolfenstein. He wouldn't buy it for the beta, but he's just glad that he knows a Doom's game's coming, if the beta's coming.
Yeah.
But I guess if there was a beta, if it was a Destiny beta maybe in a game I wanted to play, I reckon I'd buy it.
Definitely go and play that.
And I think if there was a Dynasty Warriors beta in some game, I think I would go for it. I think there is certain games I definitely would buy a game I'm not particularly interested for to get that beta key.
It's very interesting. I think it'll totally depend on a couple of things. One, how much is that game? If it's going to be one of these 40 quid games, which most are, then if it's a game I really have no interest in getting, then yeah, probably not. Something like Wolfenstein, which I was genuinely interested in getting. I played it at Eurogamer. Then I would do it for Doom.
Yeah.
But if it was...
are you interested in playing the Doom beta?
Not overly.
No? Yeah.
Not overly. I mean, Doom is... it was such a... I think it's got such an importance to video game history. I mean, it was the creation of a lot of... Well, the starting point for a lot of what we get nowadays. But I'm not overly fussed by playing it. I think I was a bit too young when the first Dooms were out to really be held by it. But if it was something like, I don't know, play a game I don't give a shit about.
My Little Pony.
Play Knack to get access to a beta for Wolfenstein, then I'd be like, no.
Yeah, fair play. So, yeah, it totally does depend on that judgment. But it is good to be able to get the betas on an not open source, but just be able to get them for free, because I think that genuinely gives you a chance to change your mind about the game, just like Titanfall did to yourself. I mean, I've downloaded the Final Fantasy 14 beta, which I'm going to go upstairs in a minute after this, or tomorrow, and enjoy it over the weekend. I'm going to see what that's about, and I'm massively looking forward to that. And it also twinned with demos as well.
But I think that's a bit weird, isn't it? Because we've always had more betas, or that I've always been associated, I think, more with the PC genre. A lot of them came out with that because consoles were a bit like, they don't seem to come hand in hand. Consoles always seem to come hand in hand with demos, I think.
Yeah, and also complete thing rather than a test.
Because obviously if you're on a console, you want to kind of play the demo before you purchase the game. While PC is always like, I'll give the beta a go and I'll try and see how that kind of goes from there. So it's kind of weird now how these betas are now moving on to the console generation. Really, I mean, I would like to say I'm really interested in betas, but I don't know. I much prefer thinking, I'm not too fast. It'd be nice to play it, but I wouldn't massively go out my way unless it was a game that I really had to play. Like Titanfall would be one if I was an Xbox One owner. I think that would be definitely one I would try and go out on my way with.
I'd love to have demos for every game, man. I tell you, I'd love to have that so much. The amount of games on that Vita. So I'd buy games on my PS4. I'm also sort of. I always don't really see the Vita as a full console. It's my own thinking. I was almost like, if I'm going to spend money on, if I'm going to spend 40 quid on a game, I get a console game rather than a Vita game. Yeah. But like, I do want to buy loads more games on my Vita, but because they're all sort of, a lot of them now are sort of obscure Japanese games, right? Yeah. Like, if there was demos for these games, I'd try them out and play them. Yeah. But I don't want to spend 34 quid on some weird Japanese game that I may love, but then I may fucking hate it at the same time.
And that's a risk.
Yeah.
That you seem to be more willing to take for the console.
So I'm more willing to take it for the console because it's on the, at the moment in time as well. Because it's like so few games are being launched out. And also, I know they're either sequels or they're games I know have been developed by teams I know. It's these weird games that I really want to take a chance on, but am I going to take £30 of a chance? And especially because Vita's memory is so limited, if I spend that, it means I've got to delete other games on my Vita.
Yeah.
I mean, I can get them back at any point, but it's just it's a lot more effort. If it ends up being crap, it's a lot of effort for something I could have just downloaded a small demo for.
Had you known,
Had I known.
Yeah. But is there any games that you've downloaded the demo for and then bought the main game?
Yeah, loads of games. Yeah.
So you think that's such a major thing, isn't it? I mean,
Crash Team Racing.
Because there's only
that was the first game.
Is there any little surprising demos that you kind of just check them out? Like I was asking you, like what any particular titles that you've downloaded the demo thinking I'll give it a go, and then you thought actually no, I really like it based on the demo, and then made the purchase.
Yeah, I've done loads of games for that actually. Bastion, noticeably actually. I think it was. I'm pretty sure I had a demo, but everyone feel free to correct me. But I'm pretty sure Bastion was like that, and I ended up loving Bastion so much. The demo for I have to admit I downloaded the demo for Rainbow Moon. And then downloaded that and realised the game wasn't really anything extra than that. So that can go against you as well, of course. The demos can provide a false image of the game. But yeah, loads of it, all the time. And actually, a lot of the time on Xbox as well, you'll download a demo, you'll get like 3 achievements for it, and then you can buy it then to keep them. But the best demos, I think, are the one where it downloads like the full game.
Yeah.
And then if you want to, at the end of the demo, you just like get the unlock code and you've already got it. You don't download it. And you can. So it might take a little bit more to download the demo, but like you can always delete it, or you've got it. Charles, new beer. Yeah. But yeah, like I really, I mean, Xbox Live has totally got rid of demos, right? The Xbox Arcade now has got, and they totally got rid of demos. There's not many on the PlayStation.
Not really much on the Xbox store, to be honest. Like.
There's not really much on the PlayStation Network at the moment. If you think about actual PlayStation 4 games.
Yeah, no, there's not much at all. There's no demos.
There's games, there's just not. Well, there's demos as well, actually, I suppose. But I've not really bought any of them, or I've downloaded the demos, to be honest.
What?
I don't really search the stores. I have what I have on there. I go on the Netflix, I go on my games, and I don't really think, I'll go on the store. The one time I did was for that. I was thinking, do I want to buy that Power Star Golf? Saw it was 25 quid and thought, no, I'm not going to because...
You were like, getting that Golf.
I was thinking the only reason I'm going to download that is just to have another game. And I thought, I actually have a couple of games I need to play anyway. But going back to the demo part quickly, I didn't get the Titanfall beta. I had the early access code, but I didn't apply for it. It was just something my girlfriend applied for. And she said, I've got the code. And I was like, okay, then I'll play it. But I'm so glad it happened now. I'm in love with it. Absolutely in love with it.
That's cool. I think, interestingly, there's not many demos on the PlayStation 4, but there's a lot of free-to-play games.
There is quite a few, yeah. Obviously, we've had,
there's Warframe, there's DC Universe Online.
Well, so you've got the PlayStation games.
There's a shooting game, Black Light Retribution. There's a few of them, so I think that actually might be the interesting thing they might be doing.
Yeah. Plus, we've got the ones that obviously came with Outlast and obviously the PS, PlayStation Plus games as well. So,
Yeah.
which is always quite cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. PlayStation Plus is fantastic. So they are giving me a lot of stuff. I'm not. Chris has a PlayStation for not giving me stuff.
Give me more free stuff. Yeah.
Right. Moving on. Irrational Studios closed, which is a massive little bit of news. If anyone's not aware out there, Irrational is the company behind the Bioshock games, Bioshock 1 and Bioshock Infinite, most noticeably. I said that right. And they're closing because Ken Levine, the head of the studio, wants to get a smaller team together to focus on some smaller story-based driven games. So they are laying off a series of people. As you're scaling down, it's kind of natural, but I'm sure they'll land jobs very easily. They're a very talented bunch of developers. And just looking up this whole Irrational business, I came across some related articles to Bioshock Infinite, and I saw a story about something I read about at the time a while ago when Bioshock Infinite came out. I read it again today, and I just it's a really interesting sort of subject. Is people were playing. If you haven't played Bioshock Infinite,
shame on you for a start.
yeah, play it. And actually, it's free on PlayStation Plus on PS3 this month. If you have PS3,
it is. Yeah.
So download that. But at the start of the game, when you go into the city of Columbia, you have to essentially have a baptism before you go in there. And this caused controversy with some Christians at the time, and they asked for their money back because they bought the game. And when they got to this point, they felt that they could either continue playing the game or commit blasphemy in their eyes of their religion. So I think they bought it on Steam. This particular person who got his money back, and people might think that is okay. That's acceptable. These people shouldn't be forced to do that. But looking at the game, if you're a devout Christian, you're not going to you're not going to play a game because you don't have a fake baptism. But you're playing a game where you murder hundreds of people and you kill everyone in that game. It's a dark game.
Yeah.
But where's the line? Murdering's fine in a video game, but I can't get baptised because that's too real for me. You know what I mean? I don't want to be insensitive, but where is the line?
I'd love to
say, where is the line?
It's a weird topic, isn't it, when you think about that kind of thing, really, on where, as you said, do you draw the line on where do you go with it from there, really?
Do you play GTA? You torture someone in GTA 5, but you don't get baptised, so is that fine? I honestly don't know. It's a question that, Steam gave them the money back, but can you really justify getting your money back when you've paid for a game about shooting everyone?
Knowing full well what it's about.
It's
definitely an odd topic, really, and then because if you think about that, what will that impact future games going forward and other developers who make such games? Are they then going to try and steer away from controversial kind of thing like that because of that, or are they just going to go, don't really want to be touching that?
Bioshock Infinite story is so good because it draws on that religion. This is fake idol. The whole image of Columbia is built around this fake. It is a religion in its own sense, and that has made the city this almost weird, bizarre place. And when the story kicks in, that's why it's so much work.
Because what they could really do, worst case scenario, is what they did in Call of Duty in the Russian airport scene. Do you know when you go up to them and say, if you don't want to do this, then you can skip it, because it's not paramount that you get baptised. It's, it kind of, without saying anything, kind of is. But maybe they can give that option for people who don't want to do that, for such purposes. But then, is it religion? Is there other reasons?
No, it's just it's absolute bullshit, to be honest. If you know that Bioshock includes shooting, as you've said. Bioshock 1, you literally you drill people as well, don't you? Stuff like that. And this one, he's got the hook on his hand, for God's sake. You know that he's plunges out into people's
All the trailers see you kill loads of people. It's not like you're going to go into this game thinking it's all happy fun time. You know what I mean? You know what's going to happen in this.
It's not a game you go into and turn off the gore, is it? It's like, I don't want any blood in this. No.
But it's the same as other games as well. Like games where you have sex with characters outside marriage, But is there one sin that's worse than another? Is being baptised worse than murder? And in a game environment, how come baptism can suddenly affect your view on your religion, but murder in someone can't affect that because it's just a game? It really is mind.
It's a weird topic.
The guy who did it, I read the article as well, and he was saying he enjoyed Bioshock 1 and 2. So we know for a fact there that he's killed people on video games. But it was a thing he was saying about a choice between committing blasphemy, extreme blasphemy, or forced to quit a game. Well, I just don't understand.
I mean, murder is extreme blasphemy, I guess. In a religion, it's a.
But I mean, you can steal stuff on the game as well.
You can steal stuff. Yeah, you can steal stuff.
It really is an interesting debate, isn't it? Really, and how that's going to go forward. But does that mean that as a topic as well, does that mean if you're playing a game, is that going to be much different to reading and that kind of thing? I mean, if you're doing a reading or something and it mentions this kind of thing, is it the same kind of thing? Does somebody read a book and kind of go, and close the book once they hit such a topic as that? Or
it's interesting about how we look at video games under a different lens to other mediums. And actually, this brings us on to another topic that we were discussing the other day. It was discussed on the another podcast about why there isn't any. Would they ever do a 9/11 game? But that is interesting as well, as I'm sure there's loads of books about 9/11, and there's even a few films about 9/11. But there's no games about 9/11, and is that because people just haven't it's just had to slip through the net, or is that because games are viewed under such a different light that it would be 100% worse to do again because you have to play as that environment?
It's the catastrophe.
Yeah, the medium of it. Yeah, even if it was heroic. I mean, there's that film with Nicolas Cage. He's a fireman, right? Is that a film? Am I going crazy, or is that a film?
If it's Nicolas Cage, it wouldn't surprise me.
I think
there is a
film.
1993.
Yeah, is that Cage?
No, wait, no, it's World Trade Center. It's called.
Yeah, is that Cage? Is that Cage? Yeah. So, why could you not make a game with those environments? And I mean, I think 9/11 games. What story are you going to have anyway? That was also what this podcast decided. But games are viewed in such a light now, where even though
I think 9/11, there aren't. Although there was those two films, I mean, it's not something that's really being done that much, and I don't think it will be for a while. I mean, I don't know how many. I don't think there were many films about the Holocaust until really the last couple of.
Is it like this 25-year kind of
period? It's that South Park joke, isn't it?
Where there's still not many films about the Holocaust.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it is going to be something like that. There's not going to be that many films, and every film that is out, there'll be this nostalgia around it, like, is this right? Is this wrong? Going back to religion.
Go for it.
I mean, there was a book called by Salman Rushdie. I don't know if you've heard. He wrote a book called The Satanic Verses, and pretty much it enraged every Muslim in the Indian subcontinent. I mean, it's nothing to do with which race. Is it fine to do that for this race? But I think it's just a case of. I mean, it's going to be fiction, so obviously. Although people's opinions are still put in fictional works, I don't think people should be so literate with them and be, well, this is against our God, and the same with the baptism. Oh, this is extreme blasphemy. Why? Because you're pressing a button to plunge some guy's head underwater.
Just because you're actually pushing that button. I mean, it goes back to the whole age-old thing of violent video games make children into murderers. Watching films doesn't. And if it's a 15 anyway, video games have a rating for a reason, right?
Yes.
But is being baptized in a game, making you a bad person? You're not being baptized in real life. You're just pushing a button,
No, that's a very interesting point. I mean, there's always. I remember reading one article about this lawyer who was trying to sue Rockstar for $220 million, I think it was, and his whole case pretty much went around. Well, this 14-year-old and this 15-year-old killed a woman because they've been playing Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, really?
14, 15. Is that above 18? Yeah. No. There you go. There's a code in place.
It's kind of a reason. It's like if you're a parent and you buy, or they do get hold of it and you see that, then if something happens,
you're in control.
Yeah.
Even if that person was 25 and they killed someone, it's not because a video game hasn't made them kill someone. There must be something in their heads that makes them think it's okay anyway.
Well, it's a psychological thing, isn't it? Really, like if you always have what's reality and what isn't. And like, it's the same with films, isn't it? If you watch the amount of films where people are jumping off buildings, I mean, if we were to take the Die Hard films, where Bruce Willis was that, you wouldn't then attempt to do that, would you? Because you know the distinction between what's real and what's fantasy.
Exactly.
And that is exactly the same applied to games. Just because you're holding the controller doesn't mean that that's going to make you any more. All he's doing is just...
Saints Row 4, you can power jump over huge building blocks. I don't think I can bloody do that in real life.
I'm a little bit tempted to run into a street with a massive dildo and start smacking people though, because that was...
or the dildo gun from Dead Race.
I don't know how we do this, guys. We started a nice conversation on whether religion has a place in gaming, and we've got to dildo gun.
It happens
in 10 minutes. It's not even like we spent ages to do this.
Do you know what? I think this brings us nicely onto our next topic, which is, of course, Conrad's
Can
combo.
you say it? Can you say it yourself?
I think I just did. I just did.
If you those who were here with us last week, we started off the topic of a feature called Conrad's Combo, as Conrad's already said.
We need to have some little intro music to this as well, I think.
Conrad's Combo.
Yeah, it's like he's going to ask us questions. Conrad's Combo.
We need a bit more of a Latino beat.
And the aim of the Conrad's Combo is Conrad is going to ask me and Steve, whoever's in the podcast, happens to be me and Steve this time, a question that we don't know, and we get 1 minute to try and answer that question as best we can. And then we can talk about it, or Conrad can say who he thinks answered the question best. Last week we asked one question to everyone. This week we're going to do it a bit differently. Each one's going to get their own question, so we can't prepare, we can't be ready for it. So over to you, Conrad.
So they're topics that relate to what we've been discussing, but we'll see how it goes.
No, I'm Steve. I went first last time.
Okay then.
That's Alex.
All right.
Okay then.
Put him in the chair.
Alex.
Can someone get the minute ready?
Of course.
Steve get the minute. Steve got a brand new iPhone.
I know I have a 5S that I might as well use shit with because I know it.
See how easy that was?
Is that it?
See how easy that was?
Is that a timer? I don't know.
It's a stopwatch.
See.
So, Alex.
Yeah.
You ready?
Wait.
This question is more related to you.
Okay.
So this is a personal question.
Do I start after you've asked the question, or do I start before you?
Conrad's going to do it. I need to see it though.
Okay then.
If another company developed a game for the BioShock series, would you get it? What conditions would you get it? Go.
Yeah, I would get it. I love BioShock. I love the storyline. BioShock 2 was developed by a different developer. So I played that. It wasn't as good as the other ones, but still a solid game. The conditions that I get it on is I'd like it to be set in a new environment. I wouldn't want them to try and touch Columbia or Rapture. I'd like it to have its own credit for its own worth, a different thing. That said, I would also like a complete reboot of what BioShock is, because Infinite if anything came after Infinite the same, you'd be like, well, of course, because Infinite covers that. So my conditions for buying a new BioShock game would be set in a different location, new city or new environment in some way, and the whole premise of it changes, maybe with it's a sub-premise within, so it doesn't cover the same things. So absolutely I would, but it would need to basically change massively.
Brilliant. Okay.
Under a minute.
Yeah, very well answered actually. I'll give you my thoughts in a minute.
Boom.
So
he passes the throw. It's good.
If I just haven't shared a brick.
There you go.
Steve, does the breakdown of a relationship between the developer and the publisher equal the loss of integrity for a series? Go.
Wow. Between the publisher and
basically when the developer leaves the publisher.
I think there is quite a bit involved there, because when you have developer and that kind of thing, then there is a relationship between there. And I think a lot of game developers, you can tell that there's a chemistry between that, and if it's not there, then I don't think the game comes out quite well, and there's a lot of communication barriers. And I think that also means a lot of games might be delayed, because all they're trying to do is, I have this vision for this game to look like this. The other company, the other partner says, oh no, I want it to look like this. And that, I think, constantly keeps battle against each other. And I think, it does actually. It makes a bit of an impact, and the integrity between it is affected definitely by that, I'd say.
Yeah. I was thinking specifically.
You came in over time. You didn't let him finish.
Yeah, no. I was going to say a quick more point, but you've added time now.
No, but you're talking. You're not in time. Steve's got the minute.
Yeah, no, I was going to say specifically in relation to Left 4 Dead, and then you started asking stuff.
Yeah.
I don't care. I've killed his minute.
Well, you said less now, and now you've lost.
You're going to have 10 seconds.
I
You're
didn't
going to have 10
seconds. Something to do with Left 4 Dead Evolve. They've done something to do with that. Evolve looks really good. They have gone off somewhere.
But it's not Left 4 Dead though.
But it's not Left 4 Dead, no. But it still looks really good. But it depends if it's gonna carry on, if that communication does happen. It might be one part related, but we'll see how it goes. And
this is a competition, Steve.
And I will bone over Evolve.
Yeah, Evolve.
Well, actually, I will. Actually, in fact, I am. In fact, I've actually got an erection, but we won't talk about that.
So, ignoring Stephen there, Alex, I'm coming back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I would play another BioShock game, but I think they're going to have to retouch Rapture at some point, because I don't feel I feel that I could go back there. I didn't play Burial at Sea, which was based there, I believe. Am I correct in thinking that?
What's that? Yeah, Burial at Sea Part 1.
That was in Rapture.
That was in Rapture, yeah. You play as Booker, same mechanics, but in Rapture. Burial at Sea Part 2 is you're going to play as Elizabeth now. So I guess the mechanics are going to change in Rapture. And I believe that this is going to explain the fall of Rapture, which will be unbelievable if it turns out to be good. I'm loving it. I'm looking forward to it so much. I want to boot my 360 up proudly when that comes out.
Not long to wait there for you, Squire.
No, hopefully not. I'm really looking forward to it. I want to get some closure with the Book of Elizabeth campaign, which I think it's going to bring. And I want to see how these two characters affected Rapture before the start of the first one. I think that will complete the circle. Like I said, I think that's going to totally complete the circle in that series for me. I want to see more BioShock. I want to see more of the worlds that they live in, but I don't want anyone to touch this saga again. You know what I mean? Like, this whole storyline should be left in the annals of video game history, and left well alone, because they have completed the circle.
They've locked up in Russia.
Yeah, this boom is there. I think if there was other stuff, it would have to be within that world. Maybe a game exploring. It's more DLC, I guess. Yeah, maybe the Pinkertons. Maybe a game exploring Daisy Fitzgerald and the Revolution. I really thought that was going to be a DLC.
We did.
I really thought one of the bits of the DLC was going to be when it would have been the other timeline when the uprising of the rebellion happened, but it didn't. So maybe. But then again, that's involved in it as well. I don't know. I really want to see more BioShock games, but I honestly can't tell you how I want to see it. I don't want them to touch this because it's so perfect already.
Yeah. I think that kind of links into Steve's question. Does another BioShock game, would it have the integrity of the rest of the series if it was developed by someone else? And I think it would. The answer would be no, because Halo 4 totally.
It always loses that. It always differentiates and makes itself different. Yeah, it does, because things that they can't recreate, and things like if you get a new developer or not, and they come on board, and if they try and replicate what's been done before, they're never going to do it one for one. It's just not possible, I think, to do. It will lose that sparkle, that little bit of magic that you got with the previous one. So they have to go down a different corner. Especially if you've got the Infinity War, Call of Duty, and that kind of stuff. They won't ever try and do the same thing. They always want to go down their different corners, and different paths. So, which I think. So yeah.
No, absolutely no. I really want to see how Irrational Games does now. I want to see what they do next.
Yeah,
and I want to see.
Well, you mean
what they can come up with. I want to see how Ken. Whether it is called Irrational Games or not.
I don't think
it still could be. I don't think they've said the name of this. Just the new Take Two. I think maybe Take Two. That might be it. But really interested to see how that plays out. But bloody hell, it's been good. We've sort of gone. But how's it gone this fast already?
Yeah,
we've talked a hell of a lot. It's been good.
Yes,
it's been another good session.
It's time already.
We've talked a lot about some. We did good. We did good, guys, today. Yeah, we did good.
Yeah. Do you know what it is? There's no Alec holding us back.
Now we just need to stall for the next minute and just keep saying how good it was. It's good.
No, I won't have to stall for the next minute, because I will have to remind our dear listeners, thank them very much for listening to the 6th episode of the I'm Playing podcast. And wherever you're listening to this, it doesn't matter. Conrad pointed out that you have to be listening somewhere, but I'm still going to lift them off anyway. If you haven't checked out the website, please do so at www.implaying.co.uk. go to our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/I'mPlaying. Follow us on Twitter at I'm_playing. And we're also on YouTube at I'm Playing TV, where we post all of these podcasts every Wednesday, as well as a host of other video content. And we're also on these podcasts are also up on Mixcloud now, which is just I'm Playing, where you'll be able to listen to all of these on Wednesday as well. Podcasts go up on Wednesday.
Yeah, they do.
So nothing much for us to say until next time.
But say thank you very much.
Yeah.
Till next week, guys. Thank you.
Cheers from all of us at I'm Playing. Thank you very much, guys.
Bye.